you and your family are doing well. I'm just going to be making some chicken soup today, and I'm going to bring you along with me on that journey. So into a hot pan, I've got 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and I've had this chicken marinating for about half an hour because you want to marinate your chicken, get those seasonings into your chicken. And I'm just dropping this into the hot oil just to brown off a bit, because I always like the look of chicken when it has a bit of color on it. It doesn't have to be very much, and this is also optional, you don't have to, but this is just the way that I do things. So I'm just browning this chicken for a bit, just making sure that I get it to be face down in the pan, and I'm changing the chicken over to the other side just to make sure I get both sides with a bit of color on there. You're going to notice some caramelization, but don't worry about that because that's all good flavor. So yeah, I'm just making sure that my chicken is turned from one side to the other, making sure that it's got a little bit of browning on it. And I'm dropping in some diced onions. I've used a medium-sized onion. Onion's not my favorite thing, but it gives it a lot of flavor, so you're gonna want to put onions into this, even if you cut it up very small like I do. And you see that caramelization going at the bottom of the pan? Yeah, that's flavor. So I'm putting in some sweet peppers. I've diced some sweet peppers, and the same thing with the onions. This is gonna give you loads of flavor, so don't forget this step. If you don't like peppers, then you can probably use another vegetable, but I would suggest putting as much vegetables as you enjoy in there. I would say for me, onions and peppers are always like my sort of basic vegetables that I add to just about everything that I'm cooking. So yeah, those flavors are important there. So I've just let this cook down for a bit just so I can caramelize all of my vegetables, and I'm now going in with some carrots. Carrots is one of those things that you want to put in at the beginning of the cooking process because they take a bit longer to cook than the other vegetables. So I've just diced these carrots up. You can cut them whatever size you want. You can put in as many or as little as you want depending on your taste. And I am just mixing that in just to make sure that those carrots sort of hit the bottom of that pan and they help to deglaze some of that. As you can see, I'm just using my fork to deglaze some of this. And I'm just mixing those vegetables in just to make sure that they have a space in that pan. So I'm putting in some bay leaves. I'm going to drop in possibly about 3 to 4 bay leaves because I really like the flavor that bay leaves give to your soup. If you don't want to do this, then that's optional as well, but this is just what I enjoy. You can also put some thyme in there, but I didn't have any thyme to hand at that present time, or so I'm just putting in some bay leaves and just mixing that in. So I'm just showing you here that I've got in a separate pan some sweet potatoes and some green plantains. I'm just going to let that boil because I'm going to have this with my soup. Into my soup, I'm going to go in with about 1.5 cups of water, and I'm just putting that in just to help to deglaze that the bottom of my pan and just build those flavors up. Yeah. So yeah, just do a bit of mixing, deglazing, just to make sure that everything is covered and you have that flavor building into that soup. You're gonna want that. Yeah, this is really good. So you're gonna enjoy this soup. I've got some stock cube. Now I've used chicken stock cube, but you are free to use whatever type of stock cube you want. But I've use chicken stock cube because I'm cooking chicken, so yeah, chicken's gonna give it flavor anyways, but I think that stock cube definitely adds another dimension to your chicken soup. So add that in, just give it a bit of stir because you want to make sure that that stock cube is fully broken down. It's gonna dissolve into that nice soup. And now I'm putting in some chopped kale. Now kale's one of those vegetables that you can cook for a very long time and you can get away with that, but you don't need to cook kale for such a long time. So this is just a fast soup, and I'm going to put in some kale because I really want to have some greens in there, and I think it's really healthy to put in as much vegetables into your soup as you can. I'm just going to mix this up so I can get that kale to start to wilt down and just pick up those flavors from that chicken. So I'm just going to give that a bit of a mix and get those juices flowing. This is making me really hungry, you guys. While I was doing this, it was so I wish you could taste the soup. If you try the soup, just let me know how you got on, because I think, yeah, this is one of those soups that anybody can cook. So yeah, don't be afraid. Just add in the things that you really like, because that's what makes it yours. I'm gonna add in some butter beans because I really like beans in soup. I like butter beans, and I think butter beans are one of those beans that really pick up and absorb all the nice, lovely flavors that you have. So I'm just putting in a tin of butter beans, and I'm just gonna bulk out that soup with some beans. Yeah, so mix that in so they can get those beans into that soup, so that they can sort of absorb all of that nice gravy, all of that nice soup. And I'm adding in some water because I'm just wanting to um, cover my vegetables and my chicken with that, so that I can have a better soup. I'm gonna drop in about 4 pieces of chopped up corn, just because I really like corn. This is optional as well. You don't have to add corn, but it's just one of the vegetables I really like. So I'm adding some corn, and I'm just gonna cover this and let that boil for about 10 minutes. And this is after 10 minutes. I'm showing you how nice and bubbly this is. This is just those flavors coming together. Everything is going to be so nice in the soup. Just give it a bit of a mix. I'm just going to mix this up so that I can turn my corn on over, so that they can cook evenly, and make sure that they sort of soak up some of that flavor from that lovely combination there. So I'm just mixing that up to make sure that my corn, is getting cooked evenly, and just, mixing into those flavors, just blending everything together. This is at the point where you will want to go in and do a taste test. So I've taste tested this soup, and I'm happy with everything. At this point, if you want to add in another spice or something, just go ahead and do it. I've got some dumplings. Now I'm just using salt, flour, I've set that in the wrong order. Flour, salt, and water. Just a pinch of salt. Knead that into a dough. Use about a thumb size, or maybe a half thumb size of dumpling, and you're going to roll that between your hands like I'm doing that now. And you make dumplings, or some people call them spinners, because they spin them between their hands and just drop them into your soup. And you're going to start to drop these into your soup. Now you're going to have enough sort of liquid into that soup so you can cover that. So I've got quite a bit of liquid in there, but I'm going to add some more at a later stage. And I'm just mixing that, because when you're adding these dumplings in, you don't want them to touch each other, because not when you first drop them in, because if you do, then they tend to sort of clump together, and that's not a good look. So you can add a few at a time, and then in between, I would say to give it a mix so that you can sort of make more room in that soup. It doesn't have to be in there for very long before they're okay to touch each other, but when you initially put them in, you're going to want to make sure that they're, by themselves. So they can be antisocial sometimes. It's a good thing we're not dumplings. Hey, we don't want to be antisocial all the times anyways. So I'm just mixing that in, and getting all those dumplings some nice sort of room to cook in. And yeah, I'm going to be adding just a little bit more water into this, just to give those dumplings enough liquid, enough gravy and soup, I should say, to cook in. So I just added that, and I'm going to put the lid on again for about 10 minutes and just let those dumplings fully cook. So this is after 10 minutes. Everything should be cooked, and you should be good to have your soup. So I am just showing you here that I've done my sweet potatoes and my plantains. They're nicely boiled, ready to eat. And I'm going to make you a plate, because you've been so patient and you've watched my whole video. If you've gotten up to this point, then I'm going to make you a soup. I am trying to hit 40 subscribers very soon. I know that sounds such a little number, but it means so much to me, you guys, that you have bothered to subscribe. So thank you so much for subscribing. I'm just going to add you a bit more chicken into this, because you've been so good to me. So thank you so much. And here's another chicken. I'm going to be adding you some more vegetables, some carrots and some kale. Ooh, and some lovely butter beans as well. So I'm just gonna top that off for you right here. So this is gonna be your completed plate, you guys. So if you like this content, you want to see more like it, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and yeah, share my channel with others. Thank you guys so much for staying tuned, and I'll see you again next week. Take care. Bye.